Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley was asked about the speaker situation, and it sparked a bit of a contentious exchange. Watch this.
It's starting to look like there is not one House Republican who can get 217 votes. Republican Congressman Austin Scott said the chaos, quote, makes us look like a bunch of idiots, unquote. Is he right?
Well, I'll tell you what's right is under the Biden administration, we've seen chaos with inflation and the fact that people
You can't blame that on Biden. You can't blame this on Biden.
No, you can't. Well, you have to let me finish. You can't fix Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. They need to get it together.
Joe Concha, Fox News contributor, columnist for The Messenger, joins us as always. Joe, your thoughts on that exchange you just heard?
Well, Todd, Nikki Haley's point in a macro sense was correct, right? The average American, regardless of political stripe, ideology, does not care very much about who is Speaker of the House. What they care about are things that impact them on a daily basis, the type of things that Jake Tapper doesn't want to talk about on his show. Inflation, wages not keeping up with inflation, their communities, their cities less safe, essentially an open border that is allowing terrorists into this country, and teachers' unions having more power than parents in terms of our child's education. But what Nikki Haley was pointing out, that the national conversation should be about these things: inflation, crime, border, education, because that's what matters to the American people. All that said, Republicans have to decide whether to prefer to be the party of whiners or a party that actually governs. And I think most in that chamber want to be a party that governs, but some prefer chaos and complaining without any plan to execute. Carly, Todd.
So, Joe, President Biden was on 60 Minutes yesterday. He was asked about what his message would be to Hezbollah, obviously backed by Iran. Listen to what he had to say.
There's limited fighting already on the northern Israeli border, and I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't
come across the border. Don't escalate this war.
That's right.
A strong message there, Joe. The question is, will Iran take that seriously?
It's an obvious message, right? Let's not have another front for Israel to deal with. And I thought the most important part, Carly, of that interview was when Scott Pelley then asked President Biden if Iran is behind the attack and the war. And Biden answered that there's no evidence establishing that. And then he claimed that Iran didn't have any advanced knowledge that an attack was coming. So that would lead the American people to believe that Iran, the leading state sponsor that funds Hamas to the tune of billions in terms of state sponsor of terror, didn't know this attack was coming? What sane and sober person believes this? Of course they did. Without Iran, there is no Hamas. And this may be why there was an ABC News poll out yesterday showing 54% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of this war. Only 41% approve. The bottom line is that Iran absolutely is fueling this. And the fact that the president of the United States still says, well, maybe they didn't know that this was coming, that's an insult to our collective intelligence at this point, Carly.
Yeah, and in light of that, do you have any confidence that going forward, Joe Biden, in light of everything that we know, that he should know, that clearly he doesn't, per your answer there, that he will end his appeasement strategy with regard to Iran? Or is it going to be business as usual in a couple of weeks with regard to Iran?
It seems, Todd, that it will be business as usual when it comes to Iran. You have to cut off money going into that country because it's not going towards what the administration keeps insisting, humanitarian purposes, but this goes from Iran to Hamas, and then that you see what happens with Israel and the horrific war that's going on there right now. So until we cut off that spigot, it's not going to happen.
On the polling front, CNN came out with a poll. 96% of people polled say they have sympathy for Israel. You can't get 96% of people to agree on just about anything, but there is support for Israel, of course, in this country, as there should be. Joe, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Absolutely. All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.